Transportation and getting around Roatan, Honduras. So there's always a rental car. They run from a sedan, is around $50 a day, all the way up to about $150 for a Jeep Wrangler or a fancy Jeep Wrangler. There is off-roading on the island, but it's really not necessary, especially if you're visiting for a day or a week. You're probably not going to need that Wrangler, but they are a lot of fun. Sedans, they can get you pretty much everywhere that you need to go. You can get all the way to Camp Bay with a sedan now, with how good the roads are, minus some of the construction zones, but they are getting there. But if you do not rent a car, so the most expensive cab you're going to have is leaving the airport, where it's around $25 to $40, just depending on where you are going. And if you want to do an Eldon stop, where Eldon's is the grocery store in Cox and Hole. Other than that, so there's other options once you're outside of the airport. So if you are in Cox and Hole or you're staying in West End or West Bay, we have, well, my favorite way to get around on the island is water taxis. I think they're amazing. It's about $5, 120 limps, $5 per person, and they usually make you have a minimum of 3 to 4 people, just kind of depending on their mood for the moment. And you can get anywhere from West Bay to West End in that water taxi. Do keep in mind that you can only take those during daylight hours. But if you do take a car on the island, there's cabs everywhere. I'm sure you've seen them. We also have buses, little collectivo tourist buses. So the cabs cost, it depends if you do collectivo, which is basically more than one person can get into that cab. It's going to run you between 30 and 120 limps, just depending on where you're going. So from $3 to $5, just depending on how far you go. If you're going from West End to West Bay in a cab, they might charge $20 depending on how many people are in that cab, because they don't really always do collectivo. It will always be a little bit more expensive, especially if you're going via car. It'll cost around $20, and they won't always give you that collectivo option. Or you have an option for a bus that you see going from, well, it says West End, West Bay, Cox and Hole, Sandy Bay, and those are just larger buses, and it's around 30 limps to get wherever that you need to go, which is about $1.50, $2 if you're going to be nice and pay them a little bit extra. So that's pretty much the biggest ways to get around the island. You can also rent scooters or motorcycles. I like the water taxis the best. It's the most fun, and you get on the water. The island is really easy to get around. It's a one skinny island with basically one main road that does a little bit of a loop between West End, West End, West Bay, Flowers Bay, back to Cox and Hole. That's a circle. Otherwise, it's basically just one road, so it's hard to get lost on this beautiful island.